everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of Tank Talk. I am Relics James Starr, and with me today, as usual, is my good buddy here, David Williams, aka Nagatron, captain of Fulcrum Gaming and leader of Forge. And we also have now professional sportscaster Kirill Bondar, aka Soviet, the man right here.
Okay, well, привет всем. I don't know about professional, but
Come on,
thank you, Relics.
You're the big man now.
That's the first thing
take
you said
a compliment.
nice to me this week.
It'll be the last thing that I say positive, probably. So.
Oh, okay.
So get used to it. So we don't have like a big show for you today. We have some topics to go through. A little bit of news that's going on right now. So first, I mean, we had a really big week. Lots of stuff going on. We had the big stream on Monday that Kirill and Barum were casting for. What was it? It was the Berlin Challenge,
Berlin.
right? Yeah. So what did you think about that? That was like your first really big long cast. How was it for you?
It was pretty rough. I have to admit, coming into it, of course, having been streaming, it was a little easier in terms of knowing what to do, what to expect from talking for so long. But mixing in, the camera work, switching between the different scenes, that definitely got quite troublesome for me. And the camera, that free cam, awesome tool, but at the moment needs a bit more polishing, I think, for it to become more effective and more more scenic, theatrical. The feedback has been great, though we've had some questionable forum threads pop up here and there. But big thank you to everybody who showed up, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool to watch you two do it. I was definitely impressed with how you guys did, and I think the stream did pretty well. Did you enjoy the stream, David?
Yeah, I mean, I had fun watching it and whatnot. I spent a lot of time moderating chat, but from what I did hear and what I did see, it was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, some of those later matches got extremely exciting. If anybody missed it, we do have it on our YouTube channel, which I believe we have linked below on our Twitch channel there, so you can catch all of our old videos there. I think most of the action starts probably about 30 minutes in, because we had there were some technicals and I think some one tank battles you can kind of go past, although there is like a lot of good information in the first part, because Kiro was killing it with like tactical information and stuff about tournaments and everything that was pretty interesting. If that's your gig, if you just want to see some battles, then probably about 45 minutes in you'll see the big stuff. So yeah, it's been a big week with that. We had a lot of training. We have a lot of tournaments that are coming up, so looking forward to seeing a lot more out of those. You guys have another stream of the challenge coming up. Is it next week?
Yeah, so playoffs round 2 starts on Monday, 9 p.m., and that's when we are hopefully going to get some more teams involved. Some team captains were reluctant to let us stream them. I personally kind of disagree with that concept, but this is the state where North America is a little bit behind. People are still worried about, oh my God, they're going to steal my strats, and oh my God, they're going to see what I'm doing. First of all, the delay is so big, 10 minutes, that by the time they see your initial positions, the battle is already over in real time. And second of all, the meta game happens regardless of whether they know your tank lineup, whether they know where you're moving in the first battle. So it's kind of it's fun. It's fun. It's here. With Fulcrum Gaming, we've been exposed to it a little bit longer than maybe some of these other teams, and it's a little bit amusing, I think, for us to be, because we used to be the same way. I think we used to used to kind of we used to have that whole sense that, oh my God, can't let our lineup be known and all that stuff. But I think we are getting to a point where we already understand the game, that it's inevitable that we're going to have to deal with the meta game of World of Tanks, and we actually love it. So
yeah, it's pretty inevitable that we're going to have all this, like the big tournaments are going to be live cast anyways eventually, so
yeah,
you might as well start getting used to it now, and building your strategies around not being like, here's my strat page, this is what we're doing, and instead being a little bit more fluid in your choices that you make, which makes being casted live not matter at all at that point. I mean, really, you're just reacting and acting ahead of time.
It's a lot better depending on the format, though. When you have less tanks, like say going into the fracas or whatnot, I wouldn't want to be casted in that. You got 4 tanks total, and whatever plan you're doing, you're pretty much committed to. In 742, we've at least got the eyes spread out, so if they are playing some sort of reactionary thing to something we've done before, we see it and we know how to adjust to it. But when you're playing these more rock paper scissors style formats, or just you pick something and you go, any sort of intel they have on the other side is a huge disadvantage. So I don't know if it's quite as applicable to the Battle for Berlin, considering it's mostly just 5 tanks, and you can put something faster in there, like the 62A.
Yeah.
When we saw Team Fusion, the only time they actually had a problem was a team that counterplanned for what they saw before and didn't have any. They dropped their 62A, so they couldn't account for it, and they couldn't find the other enemy team.
But that's also kind of a lesson to any teams that watched or any captains that watch that your initial strategies, your initial tactics should be to gather intel before committing into one side of the map, right? So I think that was a risky move. We had a good interview afterwards talking about the whole change up going with E100s, and that was just a perfect counter, and that will happen regardless. The possibility of that happening is the same, even if if you're being streamed or not. Don't you agree with that?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And one thing about it is, imagine how it is right now. We have so many teams in Russia that have, they have streaming every day. Their content, their tactics, their even their TeamSpeak conversations. We can get into their minds pretty much. We can see how they play, and imagine how it is for them. Let's say on an international stage, coming in, something that we saw at WCG. A lot of teams didn't know. A lot of teams didn't even think that Team USA is going to be anywhere close to the semifinals, and see how that turned out. So it's difficult, but at the same time, you have to know that here, respect every team, and regardless of whether you're streamed or not, you have to play at your the best of your ability and as unpredictable as possible, of course, and as careful as possible. You can't just rush down one lane and expect to to win unless you're just lucky.
Yeah. I think a lot of that carries over into like the big live tournaments. Like we had WCG, there was Eurosteel. I mean, you're playing these matches, and the other teams are like watching you play. Like they're seeing everything you're doing. They know ahead of time. So in that live setting, you got to be ready to change everything from match to match with different teams. So
Exactly, and sorry that we're kind of on this topic for a little bit, but
that's fine.
we learned a hard lesson there because at WCG, our semifinal match against Red Rush on Ensk, we executed pretty much a very static, so to speak, strategy that they saw us play, and we didn't throw. They were prepared for it. Of course, we could have came back and defended the base and whatnot, but it was just. A bit unlucky on our part, but at the same time, we kept executing the same strategy over and over. One thing we're seeing with Golden League right now, and even in Europe, teams that are, and well, we're starting to do it as well here in the U.S. Teams are not playing a set strategy as much as they have positions they like on the map, and then depending on the meta, depending on the mood, and depending on what the score is. They call the shots and take positions. One thing about that loss on Team Fusion on Monday, if that format was best out of 5, let's say, and not just a one-off game, that team would be in trouble afterwards. That cap rush, yes, it worked in the first battle, but that's why we're so thankful that when it counts, it's usually best out of 5. First 1, 2, 3 wins.
Right.
That's that meta game comes in. Yes, you might start off badly with your first battle. You can even lose 2 in a row, and we've been in those positions before. But as long as you keep it cool and you understand what's going on, you think it over, and start playing some mind games with the team, you can always come back and take the 3 next battles away from the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely gets a lot more interesting when you add those extra battles in and see the additional tactics people try to like throw in and get into the heads of your enemies. So
Metagaming.
Yeah, metagaming.
Yeah.
Good times. So let's go ahead and start kicking it off into news. We do have Jackie and probably somebody else in the chat just looking for questions. So if you have any questions throughout this entire thing, feel free to throw it up there, and he'll try to grab the best ones. And at the end, we'll have a Q&A like we usually do, and we'll go through everything. So first of all, for news, it is World of Tanks' 2nd anniversary. Happy birthday, World of Tanks! I tried getting everybody to get like party hats and like whistles, but everybody just like ignored my Skype messages and just didn't respond at all. So yeah.
I thought you were just gonna mail it to me. So that's your fault.
It was like a day ahead. So we didn't have that. We didn't have that, but I did go ahead and I. That's close. Just you can hang on.
Party
hang on to that.
in the USA.
I made a special UI. There we go. There's the happy birthday UI. You might not be able to see it if you can't see. So we got our confetti and our hats, and it almost fits. You can see David's is like crooked off to the side because he's the most gangster of us. So I can't reposition him, but it's close.
Oh, the lag.
Happy birthday!
I'm wearing it on my eye.
It's kind of like hanging off the side. It's good times. I had a lot of fun making that. It's party! Alright, let's take that off. We're done with that. First of all, for the birthday anniversary, we have a big stream tomorrow. I believe it's a 12-hour stream starting at 10 EST tomorrow. They're going to have like tons of big prizes. So we're going to have you got Nvidia prizes, stuff from Logitech, Gunners, all kinds of stuff people are going to be able to win every hour. I believe at the end of the hour they're going to do drawings. So lots of good stuff going on there. They're also going to do some tank company stuff. I think they actually have. I don't know if they had like Nvidia or somebody doing something special with the tank companies going on. But you're getting quite a bit of gold out of them. Just all kinds of stuff they're giving away. I believe you, David, will be streaming with them, right? You'll be platooning them in one of those hours?
Yes, early in the morning. I think it was like 8 Pacific or something. It'll be me and Bring Stabity, formerly of Stug Life. I think he's in Pipcat now. He's a kitty.
He's a kitty.
We'll be platooning with Muggsy, I believe.
Yep.
Should be good times.
Yeah, should be good. Have you and the goons. Good times. So we have that going on. Make sure you tune into that. Obviously, lots of good prizes there. Should be pretty fun to watch. They have a lot of different shows going on, so should be good times. We also have, of course, with every big thing, we have the big anniversary prizes going on. So we'll have a ×5 weekend. I believe it goes through. Does it go through next Monday? I don't think I wrote that down. It goes until the 15th. The heck is the 15th? Yeah, it goes through that Monday. So we'll have a ×5, 50% credit on equipment, discount on equipment. It's about time. I need to buy a bunch of stuff. Crew training, gold discounts for premiums, tons and tons of credit bonuses for tanks that we don't usually see. Like there's artillery on there. You can see, I believe those are all the tier 7s that are the 30%. Actually, no, those are tier 8s in there, so you have like the 5100, so tons of big bonuses there. 100% credit increases for some other tanks. Just lots of good stuff, and those discounts on the tier 8s are actually really good. 30% off, that's like 600 to 800,000 or 80,000 off or something like that.
100% credits on the Wolverine and Sherman.
Yes.
Brace yourself.
It's going to be so many Shermans. I can't wait. I'll actually probably play my Wolverine quite a bit on that. That could be fun.
Definitely.
Could be fun. We also have the gift shop, where we have the KV5 back on sale. The Mystic KV5 that everybody wants because it's huge in the 742 tournament format. There's been a lot of people, I wouldn't say whining, but they were whining about it. So I guess I did say whining.
You know, it's a little bit of a misconception, actually. I mean, the KV5 is a great tank, but it depends on what strategy you're utilizing. So
Hmm.
it can be a negative as well. So I mean, yes, it's nice to have, and it's definitely a good move that it's back in the shop, available for teams that want to use it, that have seen it being used. But at the same time, teams can be just as effective and against them as well.
Yeah.
You drag them a little bit on the map, kite them. That's a big term.
Hmm.
That thing is so slow. I mean. It's good in straight line performance. Of course, you don't want to drag the thing, but um, uh, if you make it turn, that 180-degree turn, it takes forever.
Hmm.
And yeah, just put some cap pressure on the guys once they're out of the base, and there goes your KV5's advantage.
Yeah, it's definitely like more for very specific maps and strategies. Like everybody says, Insk is like the real one to use the KV5s on. We've seen a little bit more use out of it on other maps too. Um, but it's just it's a good HP sponge if you have a nice direct route that you're taking for everything. Nice direct strategy. But that's on sale. It's probably not going to go on sale again. I think it's going the way of the T59. Or the Type 59. So it might go on sale again. Who knows? So if it's something that you want, if you're trying to get into tournaments, it might be worth picking up. I know we actually platoon with it quite a bit, and I think it's a fun tank in platoons. If you get the right maps, if you get a good city map, it's usually pretty fun to play on. If you get a big map like Widefield or something, it's makes a Soviet cry. Soviet has tears when he plays it.
Well, the thing about it is, yeah, it's very map specific, and at the same time, the play style there is just doesn't. I mean, I like playing it, but not like 20 games in a row, you know. So
Hmm.
you definitely want to change things up after like 2 or 3 battles in the KV5, just because you really have to be smart with it. You have to plan where you're going to go. You have to make sure that wherever you're going, you're going to do the best for your team, right? So usually, a tank like a KV5 is good in a bottleneck situation, like placed on the map where it can take hits for your team and of course dish out that damage. That DPM, that gun is just amazing. 2100 DPM, I believe, is on that gun. Very powerful gun, and the most hit points out of all tier 8s. So that's a great combination for the bottleneck.
So what else do we got at the gift shop here? We also had the Type 62, which I don't believe the Type 62 is available in the regular store. Um, Type 62 it's an okay scout tank. I think for like grinding your WZ 132 crew or some of your other Chinese tanks if you don't have a Type 59. It might be worth getting, but it's nothing too crazy spectacular. I was reading Reddit earlier, and the 2 birthday bundles for golden credits, if you're into converting gold to credits, are actually a pretty good value compared to what you can normally convert. So that might be something worth it to you. And then obviously, unless you don't want to spend gold and you want to pay cash for it, the IS-6, great tank. We play that tank a heck of a lot, so definitely a worthy buy, I would think. So that's it for I think for the gift shop. There's nothing else too big there. Um, let's go ahead and move on to what other news we have going on here. Go ahead and move on to some tournament stuff.
What?
Oh, oh.
One thing, guys. So April 12th is known for actually 2 great things that happened to this planet. World of Tanks launched, but also first man in space, Yuri Gagarin, made his flight on April 12th as well. So that's something cool. And I don't know if it was actually planned by Wargaming to match with the date, but definitely a great coincidence. And I'll be celebrating both. So for all of you out there who love the theme of space, and unfortunately we haven't been doing very well in that department as we move into the 21st century, but still some hope left.
We as in the Russians, or we as just in
We as
general?
in humanity.
Oh, yeah, okay. Just clarifying, where you're going with that. All right, well let's jump into. We have a little bit of tournament news. First of all, we have the dates released for all the Nvidia stuff. So if you have not registered a team yet, registration is still open. It opened on March 28th. It is going all the way through April 25th. So you have another 1.5 weeks to register. Actual play, which it looks like they're going to do like a group stage pool, will be from May 2nd to May 16th, and they're going to have all the battles on Mondays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. CDT. I have no idea. I think that's 10 p.m. EST. Does that sound right? Freaking time zones. Freaking time zones. So after that, we have the actual bracket play, which will go May 20th to June 27th. So this is going to go on for quite a while there. And then we have the regional finals, which we don't have a lot of information for. I don't know if that's going to be online or offline finals, but those will be on July 13th, and then we'll go into the grand finals, which I think are going to probably be like August, September. I haven't heard really anything about that yet.
It's 9 p.m. Eastern for the record.
9 p.m. Eastern. Okay.
Eastern's one ahead of Central.
So 7 p.m. Mountain Time, real people time. Got it. Just so I remember.
Okay.
What? So the other information we got, there was some clarification on teams that were done by admins. They still have a little bit wonky on the rules, but it is going to be your main 7-player team, plus you have 4 alternates that you can bring on. So you can have a team of essentially 11, but only 7 are going to go. And just a personal suggestion, you might want to pick those 7 first. Otherwise, there's going to be some nice fighting depending on where this ends up going. I mean, if it goes to like Detroit, then you'll have trouble getting your entire team there. But if you go someplace nice, like in Europe, you might have a little bit harder a time.
Or the Mountain Time area.
Hey, they can bring it to Denver. I would love. Denver's nice.
Oh, sure.
They want actually like people to attend.
What? We have skiing and mountains and snow and blizzards and all that kind of stuff. It's good. It's good times.
Might as well hold it in Siberia then.
Well, it's not that cold here. Come on. It's not like we're Canada. We don't have any moose or anything. So the last big news thing I have is actually not an announced thing, but I've been hearing a lot about this, and so we're not sure if it's official or if it's a bug or anything. It's related to Clan Wars. Right now, headquarters are actually on a 24-hour cooldown, which, if it's unintentional, I kind of understand, but you as our Clan Wars guy, what's your thoughts on this, David, with it being set at a lower cooldown? Now, just to clarify for everybody, the headquarters in Clan Wars is down on the map. It's what shoots out your chips. Usually, if it gets like that territory and it gets knocked out, there's 48-hour cooldown before you can put down another HQ, which means it's 48 hours before you can start putting out chips again. Did I get that about right? Just the general mechanic?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. So what's your thoughts on a lower cooldown for the HQ?
I think it's generally a bad idea. Conquering somebody that's defending is hard enough as is, provided it's a one-on-one. I mean, if you got multiple people coming on one team or trying to attack one team at the same time, then it's pretty easy. But if it's a one-on-one, then it's pretty hard to make headway against them. And if you can take out their headquarters, or rather, if there's no penalty for having your headquarters near the front line, then it makes it much, much easier for the defender to fend people off. And really, one of the best parts about Clan Wars, or one of the more interesting parts, is how chips are actually moved, because there's a whole metagame behind it. And sometimes what marks a very good offender or a good like attacking team is the team that can get you to put a lot of your chips on cooldown and then knock out your HQ. So you not only have, like, you got like one day where you can't even move chips, they advance, take out your HQ, and then there's 2 more days before they can bring it back. Mm-hmm. And that's what allows you to actually take a lot of land and move against them. Otherwise, you got to slug your way every day, the whole way through, and that can take months, and nobody really wants to fight a war for that long.
Right. What do you think of it as for, like, as an effect on some of the newer landing clans? You figure, like, a lot of these newer clans, they get down, they put their HQ down, they throw out chips, they lose their HQ, and they're just done essentially until they can reland again for a couple days. Do you think it's a good tool for at least for them?
I think if you get mapped, if you're completely off the map, you should just get your HQ back. I think there's no good reason why you should have to sit off the map for a couple days to wait for it to come back. But if you're already on the land and it gets taken out, realistically, unless that's your last province, that's your fault, and you need to pay a penalty for being risky with your HQ there. Because there's a lot of reasons why you could have it on the front line, so you can spray chips in a bunch of other ways. If it's back in a defensible area, then you've bottlenecked it. So people should be definitely punished for losing their HQ in an actual land war.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any thoughts, Soviet, as the grunt?
Clan Wars?
What's this? I just play tournaments all the time now.
Yeah. I try to stay away from it. I always kind of try to stay away from the politics, the meta game, uh, concentrating on the tanking, shoot the red things.
I shoot stuff. That's what they tell me
Yep,
to do.
yep, pretty much.
Good old grunt work. All right, well, that's all I had for really news going on. There's not a whole lot going on this week. Nothing new on Overlord's blog or anything. So maybe next week we'll have a little bit more we can go into in the news and look over that. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about patch 8.5. We did a bunch of streams on actual gameplay for patch 8.5, which again you can find on our YouTube channel at the bottom there. I put up the 2 videos that we have where we were just driving around, taking requests, playing whatever tanks anybody wanted us to. So let's go ahead and go at least through the German medium tree. So that's really the big addition there, and kind of get everybody's opinions on what these are. Let's go ahead and start out with the Indian Panzer, the tier 8 tank. What did you guys think about that tank in particular?
It's a low that went on a big diet and didn't have anything to eat for a while.
The Subway diet.
Well, sure. So
Deja vu. Did we not say this last time?
We did. I think you just stole that from me.
Oh, dude. No, get the cup out of here.
Anyways, interesting tank in terms of going hull down, and he has a pretty good gun on it. Otherwise, so-so.
Well, let's break it down. So let's start out like, what's your guys' opinions in more public play in random battles? Do you think it was a fun tank to play? Do you think it's pretty effective?
I think it's gonna be. Well, it's definitely a lot of fun to play. It's accurate. It shoots. I wouldn't say quickly, but it doesn't shoot very slowly either. The alpha is not great, but other than that, you can go hull down with it, and it's pretty fast once you get moving in a line. So in pubs, it's pretty good, but in tournaments, it needs buffs somewhere. It either needs to accelerate faster, shoot faster, or have a higher alpha, in my opinion.
Yeah, that fast-firing gun is definitely going to be fun to play and very accurate as well for random battles. But tournaments, as David said, not so much.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree there. I had fun driving it around. I played it quite a bit earlier on in the thing alone, too. I think it was at least a fun tank to play. Do you guys think it's a buy, or is it a skip?
I'll probably
XP
have
pass?
one.
Yeah. You still
I'll skip it.
Skip it?
I'll skip it. Yep.
I don't think you have any German tanks, do you?
I only have one E75. Well, E75 and low, and those tanks are there just because, well, they deserve to be there, I guess. E75 is a great tank, but
Yeah. I think I've got up to like tier 5 of it, but I might actually get up a little bit higher because I like having all the tier 8 tanks. Even though they're not necessarily tournament effective, I think it's just nice to have them all and just ready to go. Because there'll be that moment where they get buffed all of a sudden and we need them.
definitely.
Possibly. So there's that there, and I totally forgot to put up. I do have the stat sheet, which is going to freeze everything for a second. Come on. You can do it. There we go. So you can see kind of the look of what we're talking about with the actual, with it being a low that went on a diet. Let's go ahead and move on to the tier 9, the prototype, which we actually didn't play too much. I thought it was okay. I'm not sure if it's really a keeper or a go. What did you guys think of that one?
Accurate.
Leopard PTA, right?
Yeah.
Huh?
Accurate. Very accurate. Nice gun. Ammo rack in the front, though, is definitely interesting. It requires a wet ammo rack.
Oh, that's right.
On it. Yeah.
Didn't we all get ammo racked in like the first shot? All
first
three of
battle,
us?
Yeah, first battle we played in Karelia, and we all get ammo rack damage, and that was fun because I just fixed my ammo rack. Second shot, ammo rack again. So
Same for me. First 2 shots were both ammo racks on me. But other than that, I really liked it. Very accurate gun. The reload time wasn't great, but for its alpha, which I was hitting for like 450 sometimes. I don't remember the exact value of it, but it's a nice tank. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I think I got it up here. It's something like 350 or something like that is the average damage on it. So that sounds about right. Yeah, I'll definitely agree with that. I think that's why we didn't end up playing it anymore, is because we all just got ammo racked in the first one. We're like, this probably isn't going to be the most fun to continue playing right now. So hopefully they'll do something to fix that. I don't really know what they're going to do about it, or if it even needs fixing, or if it just needs to be make sure you have a wet ammo rack, and make sure you don't too much. Of course, if you turn around and you play like the KV5 butt driving, then you're just going to catch on fire because that's where your transmission is. So. No. So let's go ahead and go on to the one that everybody really cares about, which is the Tier 10 Leopard 1. So this one, I thought it was a pretty interesting tank. What did you guys think about this tank? First of all, talking puppy style.
It was. I mean, it was pretty good in a pub. It shoots well. The gun's good. Overall, I thought it was a little big. So you know, if you compare it to something like the 62A, it doesn't have a strong advantage over the rest, in my opinion. But I didn't play a whole lot, so I don't know if it maybe bounces more or anything like that. But I tend to like to play smaller, faster tanks, just because most of the time when I get shot, it penetrates. I don't really know why that is. Maybe gold.
Yeah, I definitely got the same feeling. It kind of felt like it was like another version of the Patton. It's accurate, good fire, a little bit bigger, a little skinnier of a profile.
It's pretty quick though. 65 speed limit on it. Traverses nicely. I mean, there's definitely, like, for example, on the first game I played on it was on mines, and I was able to take the hill before anybody else came up there. So that definitely has a certain advantage to the way you play the Leo. But I do agree it's going to be a little bit hard to hide behind stuff and to hide in like little ditches or whatnot, depressions in the terrain because of how tall the tank is. Our guys, I mean, I've also been kind of reading in on what the rest of our Fulcrum guys think about it, and some of them really like it. I'm sure you probably saw one of the videos that one of our guys made. So.
Thinking specifically now, Clan Wars. So obviously this is a Tier 10 medium tank. Clan Wars is where it should eventually end up being used. David, do you think this will fit into any kind of strategies or anything that are set up? I mean, we used to have play like we had with the E50s, it was originally E50, and then we had the E50M, where we used them as kind of like a scout deterrent / sniper tank. Do you think we're going to see any use out of this right now?
Well, we used the E50 for that for a very short period of time before the Bat Chat came out, and the Bat Chat was just better at it in pretty much every way. And ever since then, we haven't used a whole lot of the E-Series, except for the E100, but E-Series mediums. I don't know if we're going to start using them a lot in Clan Wars. I'd have to play it more to know that for sure. And I think it's really just going to depend on what people prefer the most. But considering that it's so big, it would have to be either all the way back where it can't get spotted, or it would have to be in an assault role, because you can't just leave it there. It'll get spotted from too far away and RD'd very easily.
Right. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the last German tank that we really played a lot of, which was the Tier 7 light tank, which is the Ockflaren Panther.
Oh God!
I am never gonna get that right. I'm gonna murder that every single time.
Right.
I think Jackie had it put in on one of the pictures as the Recon Panther. I'm gonna go with that. That sounds way better.
Aufklärungspanzer, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I'm not gonna get it right anyways. No matter how many times you guys tell me it's right. So this kind of had like a VK 2801 feel to it. What did you guys think of playing this the first time?
Do you want to take that? Big and slow. It's a medium without a medium's gun. That's how I felt about it. I hated it. I completely hated it.
That it looks funny. It looks funny with that stock turret on it.
That stock turret. That little tiny thin turret.
Yeah.
I don't have a picture of it.
You know how in sports games you can do like bobbleheads or like big heads? You type in a cheat code or something, and all the players like basketball or hockey have like these giant heads. I think some of the games also have the small heads, and that I mean that looks like that's what they were going for with Panzer. So
Yeah, I think when we actually played it, we didn't really get much out of it. Like it wasn't a lot of damage or anything. So I don't know. I think this is probably one of those skippable tanks unless you're a German collector. You guys agree with that? I don't really
Yeah,
see much. Like you might as well have a T-71 if you want a T-7 light tank. That's really
exactly.
good.
It's the best tier 7 light tank there is right now.
Hmm.
or I mean, if you want the SIG German 2801 is still a very decent tank for a light, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I heard a lot of people saying that the best thing with this tank is that it still weighs so much. So your best option is just to ram stuff, and it's way better than the gun. I think we tried hitting stuff in one of the replays that we had, but I don't think any of us were ever actually able to hit anybody. So
Steer's worse than a boat. I mean, they'd have to basically be sitting there just waiting for it.
yeah. All right, so that we did also we messed around a little bit with the Russian tanks, or at least David did while we were driving the Sexton, the new premium tank. Unfortunately, on the test server, with the way it works, you really don't get a lot of low tier games. Everybody's playing the high tier ones, so we really didn't get a test much at all with the Russian tanks. Did you have like a general feel for what the new Russian lights were like?
Um, David, you probably played more games than them.
They were slow. Um, I think they bounced a little bit of shots from each other, so they may have a little bit of armor for a light. But I don't really ever see the point in a light with armor. I want one that's fast. The guns
Hmm.
were decent enough, but overall, I wasn't a huge fan of them at all.
Yeah. And then we had the premium Sexton, which we both played, and I wasn't really impressed with it. Um, the French one is still probably the best premium artillery, and then I don't know. It's probably not going to be one that I buy. And I usually try to buy all artillery stuff that I can. What did you
Talk,
think about it?
talk about the flight time of that projectile there.
Oh yeah,
Just
the
we were
flight
playing it
time.
on
Go ahead.
Live Oaks we were playing it, and like we are shooting tanks 5 tiles away, not that far, and just takes forever to for the shell to land. You gotta really, if you're gonna play it, you gotta really be patient and plan ahead by like 10 seconds or
Hmm.
something where the enemy tank is gonna be. Because by the time you shoot, and even if the target is tracked, he'll probably be repaired and moving by the time the shell lands. So interesting, arty, but
Yeah, it had to
yeah,
be like 1 or 2 seconds per tile or something like that on that map. It was
yeah,
ridiculous.
pretty much.
And then we tried the AP, and I think we were both shooting AP at one of the heavier tanks, and we just bounced. It was like a T1 like heavy tank that we just keep bouncing off of. It was bad times. Bad times were very much had. So let's go ahead and move on off of the tanks. We also did some driving around on Pearl River. Did you guys get any actual pub matches on Pearl River, or was it just in
No,
the running
no, we
tests?
haven't.
Okay.
We haven't played Pearl River yet, but we did explore it pretty thoroughly.
I've got a.
Personally,
Go ahead.
not exactly a huge fan of it. There's one corner that's probably somewhat playable. It's just kind of like an alley where all the tanks are going to go. But it's going to be so stalemated that I doubt a lot of people are going to really go there. It's probably just going to be a couple TDs holding it down and maybe some arty trying to dig people out. But it's probably still the best place to go. The whole other corner of the map, like the whole southwestern area, that's just tons of bushes, tons of like hills and stuff that'll slow you down, and you can get shot from pretty much every angle in the whole area. It's basically a tank nightmare in my opinion.
Yeah, I've got a little picture up of the actual map for it, which everybody's probably seen by now. The little corridor he's talking about is in the northeast corner there, and then just everything else is just lots of big hills and wide open. It kind of seems like it's just a giant circle racetrack. I actually got some video footage here. Go ahead, Soviet. We'll start
Well,
playing it.
the thing I wanted to say was I read a lot of threads about it, and basically people are complaining that all the action happens in the northeast corner. Both teams pile in there, and I can see why, because that is probably the most obvious area where you can have some sort of control of what's going on around your flanks, and there's not so much cover that the enemy can hide, and just creates lots of crossfire on you. And it's one of those. It looks like they took part of a map that already exists in the game and just decided, okay, we're gonna have this more similar part of the map on the northeast corner, and then mix it up, do something crazy in the western corner of the map.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It seems I feel like we're gonna have like those few people that are like, oh, I'm just gonna wait it out and camp, and so I'll go to the southwest. But that northeastern corner, it's so close to both caps. You don't have to worry about artillery. It just seems
Just
like the best way to go.
just imagine you're in a random battle and there's one light tank left and you have to go kill him because you don't have time to cap, or there's no way you're gonna get to cap. So many places to hide. Where is he gonna go? I already see it. It's gonna be so many draws on that map because of that. I think a lot of people will start hiding. A lot of areas to shoot the cap from, like the southern ridges and whatnot. On from both sides, both caps, both cap circles or both bases are very defendable, and just lots of draws and lots of. I think they'll be reworking it quickly.
Yeah, I didn't even think about all the different hiding spots. I think I saw you, David, or it actually might have been you, Carol, driving around in the T50-2, and there was like a lot of like crazy places you could get into with that if you have enough speed. And then even like thinking, all right, I have a minute left, I can't cap out. Oh, let's go find this guy. He's
Good
somewhere.
luck. Good luck.
It kind of
Good
feels
luck.
like they were
Even if you
trying
know
to.
where he is, he's got so much room to run. One thing
Yeah.
that's worth noting, the entirety of the water, all of it, is traversable. None of it is too deep for you, which I think that might actually be an improvement if they were to or increase the depth and make only a couple areas traversable.
Yeah, make it so the avenues are a little bit more. It seems like they wanted to have like an inner circle and an outer circle as the two combat areas. But that outer circle just needs to have like almost a single valley that has maybe a few exits out of it into the inner circle, but not like how it is right now, where there's essentially you get on that outer circle and there's 2 to 3 roads that you can go down around the entire circle. So it kind of makes the map, I mean, like you're saying, just way too open for it to be really effective. I can't even imagine doing like a tournament on this map. I mean, that'd be just absolutely ridiculous.
I don't think it will ever be a tournament map.
Yeah. All right, so that is Pearl River. I hope you guys enjoyed the little video there. Let's go ahead and move on to an actual discussion that I want to have. We were talking about this in Skype with a few people. So I want to talk a little bit about the mechanic of module research. So when you buy a new tank, you just got a new tank, and then you have, 2 to 3 engines you can get, 2 to 3 guns you can get, 2 to 3 radios, and you're ending up spending, I mean, tons and tons of experience to get your tank to a point where it's actually effective. What do you guys think of that as a mechanic in the game of progression? Do you like it? What do you think about it?
I personally skip it most of the time. I mean, I just free XP straight into whatever modules I need in order to succeed in the tank, which isn't like the whole elite tank, but it's usually like a gun or tracks and an engine, something like that. Because there's a lot of tanks out there that they're pretty much unplayable stock. And it all depends on how much you researched in the tank before that. So I personally don't like it that much, but it's not a big deal to me because I can skip right through it. So I would say it's more of an issue with the general population, people who don't have premium. They can't skip through it, and then they have to suffer, almost twice as long to get to the next level equipment and stuff. So it would be nice if there was some way around it, I think.
I actually liked it. I actually liked it when I started playing and when I was grinding the various tanks. But of course, this is going back all the way to closed beta. But from that point on, and of course when the game just came out, I was grinding regularly without skipping anything. And I think it teaches you to play more patiently and more, and it adds a little bit of fun because you're researching stuff kind of quickly, especially in the beginning. So you get a tank and you're excited about, oh my god, finally I'm in the, let's say, I don't know, A20 or something, and you're in the A20. One battle played, you put some new module on, and all of a sudden it feels and plays like a different tank, and now you're adjusting to that. Instead of, while you're still on the way to your next tank. So I think you can go either way. Like I know you mentioned that, for example, Relics. You said that War Thunder, right? Everybody's bringing that up. That, oh my God, you get an airplane, and it's pretty much already, going to perform the best that it can. That's actually not entirely true. In fact, in War Thunder, they make you pay a lot more. It's a pay to win type of scheme there, that you can get like special coating on your aircraft that will make you make the aircraft faster. You can invest a lot of points into the crew that also improve the performance of the aircraft. And finally, as you progress with that aircraft, you get different ammunition and stuff like that. So it's still there's still that element in War Thunder. So I think that argument is not very doesn't hold up to the criticism or to debate.
Gotcha. What do you think about like making specific modules maybe more accessible or more easy to access? Like the guns, for example, are probably the biggest thing for any of the tanks for them to be effective in any battles. Do you think like the system would still work if you had maybe guns at max on default, or do you think that should still be something as an option to build up on?
I think, well, I think it comes to balance. And doesn't Matchmaker look at that anyway? Doesn't Matchmaker kind of already look at the weight? No.
I think
From
it
what I
just looks at
understand,
the overall tier.
yeah, it doesn't mess with modules. I guess my answer to that. Well, did you have something to finish, Soviet?
No, no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Um, what I would say with that is almost every stock gun is completely useless, and that's the problem. It's not that you need the final gun; it's you need like the second or third gun on a lot of tanks to actually finally be able to play. So that's all, really, because you get the stock gun, and a lot of times you can't shoot anything at all, even stuff your own tier. And that just depends. And then you're going against people who have like the 105 derps, and they two-shot you. And at best, you're doing like 90 hit points to them if you're penetrating, and that's really really frustrating for newer players. And I think it causes a lot of people to quit or burn out or whatnot. And obviously that would mean that we need to change it, or somebody needs to change it.
Right.
Wargaming, whoever.
Okay, but here's an argument then, counter argument. Then let's talk about not just modules. Let's talk about tanks in general. People don't want to be in in a low tier in a high tier battle, right? So does that mean let's say I'm for Sherman in like tier 8 battle, he's going to be complaining either way, right? Even if he's a top tank.
Yeah, but I think it's kind of a function of the same problem. If you are two tiers below everybody, but you can penetrate them, then it's like, yeah, I don't want to face all these tier 7s in my tier 5, but at least I can do something. So you can contribute no matter who you come across, instead of just being able to attack other tier 5s. If you don't have a good gun, though, then you have one of those situations where you come across somebody that you literally can't do anything against, and that's what really kills people, I think, or really bugs them.
Okay.
So do you think maybe, because I personally, when I first started out playing, I liked the whole upgrading module system, especially early on, because it felt like, I just bought this tank, and then, I'm still improving it. I've got this awesome tank, and I just keep adding stuff onto it. I don't know if you ever played Rock and Roll Racing way back in the day. It's a really cool NES game where you essentially buy upgrades for your car, and it always felt like every upgrade you did is like, oh yeah, awesome! I just got an engine upgrade, and I can really see the effect of it. And that whole feeling of it, I really got early on, and I like that. But then when you get later into the game, it seems like it takes a lot longer. Do you think maybe, making the specific amount of time it takes to get all those upgrades, maybe that just needs to get lowered? What do you think about like lowering the XP cost to such a way that it's maybe a specific time frame for you to get that upgrade? Do you think that would be an effective way of making the module a little bit more balanced for people going later on?
Hmm.
I
If you go ahead.
Go ahead.
Question
No, no, no.
posed.
if If you allow people to get modules at a faster rate, then I think it kind of diminishes some of the satisfaction you get from unlocking something, which is mostly what we're all talking about. It's not it's not the fact that you are finally unlocking guns that are good so much as the fact that you're constantly improving your tank rather than just moving on to the next tank. Um, so, I mean, you could maybe even make modules harder to get, but just make it so that you don't absolutely need the modules to start, and the modules you get are enough of an increase for you to have felt like you've made some sort of progress. It's a delicate balance for sure.
So essentially, like taking the default tanks and maybe making their base more effective. So they start out maybe with a higher gun and maybe have more gun options available over that are upgrades, but not like this is absolutely game changing upgrade. Like maybe more like a balance like that.
Exactly.
Okay. I just thought that'd be a neat discussion to have around that because there's been a lot of people talking about how long it takes to get through everything, and obviously we have a lot of comparisons with with War Thunder, and so thanks very much. We have our War Thunder expert here, Kirill, who's played it a little bit more and understands.
Yeah.
Some, yeah. Um, but
The
go ahead.
the thing about tanks, the lower tier tanks, I definitely agree that balancing them, balancing the progression would be the best thing to do here. Just balancing some of the characteristics of the stock tank, and then each upgrade maybe making the values a little bit lower, like you said, Relics would make it easier, make it more enjoyable. But at the same time, from my memory, and unfortunately, yes, I've kind of switched to the way Negatron was describing it. Now it's a matter of just, hey, we need this tank. I'm gonna get that tank, and I'm gonna go with my experience and just go through it and get the right modules. Of course, not every player comes close to the amount of free experience and I guess economy that we have in terms of gold to convert it. But there's tanks that I think don't need to be touched at all. I think the progression is perfect, but then there's tanks that are just so bad when they're stock that yes, they need to be balanced out and improved.
Yeah, so they need to look
Here's an
at
idea.
specific stuff. Go ahead.
So somebody kind of touched on this in chat, but they didn't really go quite where I'm thinking with it. Right now, like say you get a new turret, it increases view range, you get a little more health, all these different things. Well, why does it necessarily have to be those stats? Why does it have to be such a drastic improvement? Say you get new suspension, rather than have it be something that takes you from a sluggish tank that barely goes anywhere to something that's very nimble. Why isn't it already nimble, and then the improved suspension is just more resilient to damage? Repairs faster, things like that, right? It's a more efficient design, and that's what you're getting after. So, like engines, for example, sometimes you only get 10 horsepower out of an engine, but it drops down 10% chance of catching on fire. That's a pretty sizable increase without changing the balance of the game so drastically that your stock tank is just useless until you get all the upgrades. It's just a better version of the same thing. So maybe guns have different ammo rack configurations or something like that. So the chance of them getting ammo racked is lower, or they have more ammo rack hit points. Things like this, instead of just hard stats, I think are probably the better way of still creating some sort of satisfaction, some sort of increase in improvement to your tank without making it such a drastic balance change that it's just a must have and you can't play without it.
Yeah, I really like that idea of adding some kind of other statistic that affects your tank with having that upgrade and making it more of like a side grade with some kind of like bonus on it. I really like that idea. That's good. Hopefully I think we have some wargaming people in here, so, listen to David. He's
Take
got the
notes.
ideas. Take them notes.
Shut up and give me your money.
All right, that's it that I have for discussions for today. So we'll go ahead and hit up a Q&A. Let me see if Jackie
He's
can
doing his job.
doing his job. Hopefully he sent me those in TeamSpeak and not in Skype, so I don't have to mess up all my windows. But I don't think he did. So I'm gonna put this as a splash so we don't mess that all up, and let's see what he has. Okay, he hasn't. He hasn't sent me anything yet. He's doing a terrible job. All right. Actually, here we go. Here's some questions. All right. So the first one we have is from Len CESP. is there that much of a difference between the 1375 and the 1390?
I think so. David?
Yeah? Huh? David's
Oh,
on mute.
you muted your mic.
It's been a while since I played those two. Not sure. Does the 75 get the 90 mil now? I think it does. I think it does. It just doesn't have a whole lot of ammo. But it gets more hit points. It's better in pretty much every regard. So yeah, it's definitely an improvement.
There you go. That was an easy one. We have a question from Awareness.
It does not get the 90 millimeter.
Does it?
I just checked. Nope. So the 75 millimeter is definitely underperforming in terms of 1390 with the 90 millimeter, and that's just and the mobility I think is lacking in the 1375 versus the 1390. But at the same time, they scale very nicely. I think the 1375 sees a lot lower battles, while the 1390 you're going to be seeing a lot of tier 10 battles, and so you're going to have to step up your game quite significantly with the 1390.
Side question on that: 1375 or T71?
T71.
Yeah.
Speed,
Everything.
maneuverability, everything.
Everything. T71 is hands down the best tier 7 light in existence. In history. Of all time.
Of all time. Let's go ahead and hit up. Next question. Awareness. What are these folks experts in? Are they developers? No, we are not developers. Experts. Well, David's essentially our Clan Wars expert here. And he's a captain, so he kind of knows a lot about strategy. He's essentially our expert of, I guess, tactics, maybe? What do you want to be in? What do you want to call your expertise? Give it a name.
Shoot, I don't know. Not right now. Give me a while. Like next week, I'll be able to tell you some sort of.
We'll add some titles in. And Soviet
it
is
needs to
the
be really long.
Soviet's the expert in
You want me to say?
Russian. You should be a Russian expert.
I expert in everything that go boom.
Ah.
Whether it fly, drive, or, or swim.
I like
it. Yeah. But the thing about it is, we're Fulcrum Gaming. We're an esport team here on the North American server. That's the perspective, and that's where we're trying to share our viewpoints and with you guys here in on this Tank Talk show. And hopefully, you guys are enjoying it and answering. And of course, we love answering your questions here. So. Kind of Relics is expert at being bad at tanks.
I am.
That I can tell you.
I am really good at being bad and awesome at the same time.
Okay.
It mixes in some way. Whatever. Next question we have from Sparky98989, which is, how many Forge players stream? I was watching the Forge Champion Tank Companies under Barham's channel. I think there's probably like 3 or 4 Forge teams that stream. And then obviously us Fulcrum guys stream all the time. Let's see. 7 3 RKO. That probably spells out to something that I should know in some kind of lead speak, but I have no idea. So I'm just going to go with that. Is the Super Pershing good? In my opinion, I think it's a good tank. I don't think it's fantastic for like every situation, and as soon as you're up against somebody that knows how to fight that tank, it's not really all that good. What do you guys think of the Super Pershing? I know David's already shaking his head, like, get that piece of crap out of here.
The thing is, when you bring something like a Super Pershing, everybody loads gold, and that's it. The whole reason for your existence is right out the window. The Super is a little bit more resilient to gold than most tanks, but it does have 2 glaring weak spots that are actually pretty easily hit if somebody just puts auto aim on. They'll shoot you right in the turret ring, and they can shoot you from like 400, 500 meters and still pen it because those weak spots are so weak. Meanwhile, your gun is absolute garbage. Accuracy is awful. You have to use gold if you want to penetrate things from a distance, especially stuff like Type 59s. And it doesn't have the hit point bonus to really make up for it like the KB5 does. So all in all, it's the only option you have to grind an American tank crew if you're trying to do it through premiums, and that is literally the only reason I have it.
I think it depends on your play style, really. If you like it slow and very slow, and even slower than very slow, then then it could be a good tank. And I heard it makes good credits, doesn't it, David? Like
I make
I've
good
heard a
credits
lot
in
of
it.
No, because you have to get
no.
into the fight and do a lot of damage, and in a Super Pershing, good luck getting into the fight, unless it comes to you, in which case you're probably surrounded and dead.
You're
Fair enough.
so positive about it.
Fair enough. But one thing about I want to say is that I definitely wouldn't want to have it because of how slow it is. It doesn't fit my play style at all. So yeah.
YOLO. All right, we'll go through 5 more minutes of questions here, and then we'll go ahead and shut down. I don't know if we're gonna maybe do streaming after this before tournament. We'll see. We'll think about it. We'll see. Um, Next question is from Eclipse. Fulcrum guys, what do you think is the weakest tier 10 and the most overpowered tier 10 at the moment?
Ooh, interesting.
It's a good one.
Overpowered tier 10.
Well, that one is easy. But let's see.
You're thinking T57?
Yep.
Everyone goes to the T57.
Probably the T57, but Batchat and 62A give it a run for its money, for sure. Um, the Foch 155 is really ridiculous, but I wouldn't say it's overpowered just because it's got such strong or such huge weak points to it.
The
As a
183
TD.
could be part of the stock, don't you think?
Yeah, if it had more depression and elevation, it definitely would be. I don't think mediums have any business with that kind of alpha at all, personally. And I think in Clan Wars, probably fairly soon, we're going to see people packing around in groups of 8 of them or whatnot and just ruining everybody's day. And after that, it might get nerfed. But the 62A has ridiculous DPM as well. I don't know. I think
Worst.
57 worst.
What about the worst tank?
263? Object 263?
Interesting.
Probably that's probably my bet. Just because you can penetrate that thing right on the gun, and it's a huge, useless TD. And I think TDs are always the worst.
Yeah, TDs are usually on the downside of everything. I can't really think of like one of the heavies or mediums that are really just absolutely poor. Even the E50M is at least decent in puppy stomping, I guess. At least that's what I hear.
I feel bad for 50B, for example, and the Moss out of the tier 10s. I think that they're underperforming. Um, yeah, so I was leaning towards one of those.
I do miss playing the 50B. It definitely seems it's been replaced by the T57, like by a huge margin.
And it never had its, heyday sort of moment. Even at the beginning, it was kind of so-so, and then as it progressed, they tried to buff it, and that buff was so-so as well. So
I thought when it first came out, it was perfectly balanced. It was exactly what it should have been, and then from there, it's been kind of screwed. But I still think it has a use in Clan Wars for sure, and I expect them to nerf the intra-clip, how quickly they can shoot in between rounds of their clip, not the whole clip reload. I expect them to nerf that on the 57 and bring it a little closer to the 50B, and then they'll both have their roles, because the 57 will be more like a defensive thing or something that kind of rolls with a lot of hit points, while the 50B is more like a flanker. But that's going to be very rare to use something that large for that kind of role. So maybe it's more like an advanced position kind of thing. Like you need to rush some heavies up there and hold a line. Then you'd want to use the 50B for it. Maybe 2 of them until everybody else can catch up. But I don't think it has no role whatsoever. And like you were saying, Soviet, the mouse and the IS-7 and these, they definitely need some love. They've way fallen behind since the introduction of tier 10 mediums, which I think imbalanced the game completely. Even more so than the introduction of the T110E5, which just changed everything. Before that showed up, there was lots of balance in what tanks were brought and how things were played. And then E5 comes out and people are just rolling 15 E5s in a clump and moving it anywhere because why not? But I don't think any of those really make a solid case for the worst tier 10. I think that's got to be a TD of some type.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, the worst TD is, or the one that has the least use, is bar none the 263. But I'm thinking Clan Wars, not necessarily pubs. The 263 in pubs is not bad, just because a lot of people have trouble penning it.
No. I want to get this one last question.
Oh.
Oh?
Oh.
Nah, never mind. I was gonna say E3, but nah,
Yeah.
263 is still worse.
So the last question I have here, which I think is a really good question, um, this is from Jungladen. Jungladen. Jungladen? Yeah.
Jung Laden.
Jungladen. How does your World of Tank experience change as a play caller as opposed to just a player? Do you feel any extra pressure being the caller? This one's obviously for you, David, since you're our team caller. What do you think? How does it
Repeat the
change for you?
question.
All right. It is. How does your World of Tank experience change as a play caller as opposed to just a player? Do you feel any extra pressure being the caller?
Well, yeah. I mean, you've made the decision to saddle the entire responsibility for the battle, in my opinion. That's how we've always done it in Forge. That's how we've always done it on our teams. Soldiers' only job is to show up and do exactly what they were told to do, unless told otherwise. Like some people become like little platoon leaders, basically. So they run different corners of the map for the actual battle caller. The battle caller has to make all the right decisions, and if you lose, it's your fault. Somebody played bad on the team. Well, you chose them to play that role, so it's still your fault. They did something crazy and you weren't ready for it. Well, that's obviously your fault. So it's a lot of additional pressure, but at the same time, it's much more rewarding. You know, playing and winning is one thing. Playing well and winning is another thing, especially if you save the game. But if you just completely dominate the enemy and steal control from them the whole time, and slaughter them with tactics alone, that's pretty satisfying.
All right. I think that was a good answer. So that's going to be our last question for the day.
Oh.
Okay. Let's hear.
Solieski has an answer for
Let's
this.
hear it from the grunt side.
No, no, no. I was actually gonna. There's a few questions that I guess Jackie or somebody missed that are also good.
Go for
Nextbeat
it.
was just asking. So he runs the university esports club, and he's talking about how esports and tanks requires generally higher tier tanks. What can he do, or what can be done to kind of make tanks more accessible to competitive play? What do you guys think?
Well, if you run an actual like university esports club, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I do know of several that are starting up, and that's a huge gap in the pro scene right now. Um, my best advice would be to contact Wargaming and get accounts. If you just tell them that you're basically running weekly live events and you've got computers set up or whatnot, and people just log in and play each other, then get the accounts that have all the tanks on them. And then maybe structure exactly what tanks they're going to play and what maps they're going to play, and try to make it as friendly for newcomers as possible, but steer away from making it all low tier battles. That's not a very good representation of how the game is played, in my opinion. The view ranges are all sorts of messed up. Um, and it's since they're all lights, the camo system is even worse because you keep your full camo when you're moving behind bushes when you play a light tank. Heavies and mediums don't have that issue, or I guess don't have that advantage. So that's my best advice. Contact Lord Farquaad or Captain Judo and basically work with them to set it up as best as possible. They'll have a lot of ideas on how to help you do that because it's obviously in their best interest to help promote esports across the nation as well.
Yeah, the even better thing with that, with using the press accounts, is they all have the exact same skills, all that kind of stuff. So from a competitive stance, it's everybody has the exact same cards dealt to them. So it's definitely something worth using.
And there's definitely a reason why esports format in World of Tanks is at tier 8 because of that balance that exists there. So it's hard, but one thing I want to say though is if a team wants to start playing esports in tanks or is a competitive group of players, for example, I still think that there's plenty of tournaments and skirmishes and challenges that are done on lower tiers quite regularly, and that could be a good introduction to how to play tanks, how to get teamwork going, how to understand the game as you progress and as your team basically matures to the tier 8 tanks. And honestly, I mean, tier 8 tanks, realistically speaking, how long does it take to get a tier 8 tank grinding with a premium account? Like a month or so? What do you guys think?
To get one tier 8, probably about a
Yeah.
month.
Like,
Depends on the player. I'd say average player somewhere around a month. Yeah.
so, that, I mean, a month of gameplay before you jump into competitive play, I think is decent, don't you think? I mean, it gives a kind of a good introduction to the game. You learn the game mechanics while you're grinding, because if you jump into competitive play right off the bat, not knowing the mechanics, it might be even more disappointing, and you might just drop the game altogether and see it. Oh my God, it's not a competitive game, and we'll see all these like people complaining that World of Tanks is not an esport game. So I think yeah, I think it's actually it's double-sided. You have the fact that it takes a little bit of time to get into it, but at the same time, it teaches you the gameplay before you get into it. It prepares you for it. So that's my opinion on it.
Did you have any other questions that you saw that you wanted to snipe before we close this all up?
No, no. I think somebody was asking how bad is Relics. Relics is horrible, horrible. You should see his replays. I mean,
Have you seen my replays?
you should.
We've
You should
actually
see.
been thinking about doing a weekly show of what not to do, starring Relics. So
Heck
stick
yeah!
around, and maybe we'll be able to show you just how bad he can be.
Yeah.
Let me see how much better you are than me. This is the make you feel good about yourself stream right now.
I thought you had
I,
to break out stat sheets and show the world, but whatever.
I hate you guys. I hate you guys so much. All right, we'll go ahead and close it up there.
Sides?
He did.
It's a heart, man.
He's a part of the
Come on.
love gang.
Messing with you, man.
Um, so as always, make sure you follow us on Facebook, or like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter. They're both /Fulcrum Gaming. We also have a YouTube channel, which is /Fulcrum Gaming TV. You can find all of the links to that at the bottom of the Twitch channel here that Soviet's put together. We'll have all these VODs up there in case you've missed anything. We also have, our classic replays are up there. The 8.5 test stuff I was talking about earlier, so make sure you go check it out. Any last things from you guys? Anything else?
Feedback. We love feedback. Any feedback that you can provide to us on the forums anywhere, we appreciate it, so that we can improve this, provide better content, provide more entertainment. Like make fun of Relics all the time. That's I know that's a good one. So yeah, that's one thing I wanted to add there.
Okay.
Relics.
Next week I'm going to see if I can get maybe somebody from Wargaming on to join us. Maybe we'll do like a Q&A or something if I can get somebody. I'm hoping to get like either Lord Farquaad or Judo, but we'll see if I can get them to do it. We'll see. I'll work my magic. And then if we do, we'll put up a Q&A in the esports section so you guys can ask whatever questions you want, and we'll go ahead and berate them with all of your questions about how awesome of a job they're doing. All right, so that's it for us. One last time, party! Woo! And we'll see you guys next week.
See you guys. Take care.